Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I have used so many phrases till now, but this, ladies and gentlemen, is the first time that I'm using it, and it's okay because because every time in previous sessions I'm just saying welcome back. Let's jump into the coolest start where we left off, and actually there's just nothing else. We are working on a project and we need to immediately jump back to the codes and start working on the project. So this is it. So let's open this one. This is what we have designed so far, and we are going to continue working on this. So the first thing that we need to fix is the font size and things like this. So let's go, and also we need to understand the codes that we have copied to our project, because I want you to understand everything here. So first of all, do you remember when we defined variable? We had a root section and we defined our variables inside that root section. So when we define variables there, we can access these variables from everywhere inside our CSS code. So you can see I have defined, for example, a primary color, and this primary color has been used in multiple places. But if we take a look at the code that we just copied in our project for this effect that I call it awesome effect, you can see that the person has defined some variables but inside the selector itself. And this is another way you are seeing now. You can see it has defined a border right 6 pixel, and the border right has been used here, and also the border right that he has defined there is now accessible here as well, because it's just there and it comes after that. So we can actually go ahead and customize these values, but I don't understand if the border right is defined here, so why it's using that there. But I don't know. I think it should have been better to. Anyway, we can pass, because I think this border right. So if you are using that there, but why you're putting that there? I don't know why. Anyway, so this is one way that this person has written the codes, and so let's use, for example, this 6 pixels. Let's cut this border right and put that here, because I want to change that and make it look like my own handwriting. And there's also a animation color defined here, and the animation color is just a green thing there. We can clean that animation. Maybe the person wanted to have defined variables all inside one place. So that's why, I now understand the person's code. The reason that the person had written that border right there, because maybe he wanted to have all the variables inside one selector. See, the other places are not defined anything. So anyway, he has used a var animation color, but now rather than animation color, we hit Control D and use our primary. Okay, this is something that we need to modify, and now you can see that the color is just the primary of ours. And also he has used a font family, and the font family is Arial. I don't know what that is. Let's just clean that and come back here, hit refresh, and now it's using the Roboto thing that we had. And also there's another variable called text stroke color. The stroke color is like I think the color of the stroke in that. For example, if we change this stroke color, for example, to red, you can see, I want you to see that. You can see that's the stroke color. So for the stroke color, let's use a var white. Let's see how it looks like if we use our white. Come back here, hit refresh. I have used 1 dashes. 1 dash, it should have 2 dashes. Now I think it's a little better, and the font size is very big. We need to change the font size. So for the let's and now let's hit Control X on this, okay, because I want to use rather than this text color. Let's use our white. Okay, and let's clean that. Okay, now the WebKit stroke color is 1 pixel var white. This is what the person has, but no, sorry, I have a typo. This is correct now. So the font size is on 2em, it seems. So the font size, let's clean the font size here. And the font size, let's have that, let's clean that for the moment. Let's clean that for the moment. Come back here, hit refresh, and we need to change the font size, it seems. Maybe we need to make that a little bigger. So for the person had put 2em, okay, and that's what 2em looked like. We may want to put that 1.5em bigger, and this is how it looks like. So the reason that we need a big font size like 2em is that because this strokes only become beautiful and visible when the font size is big. Okay, but we can remove all these stroke things from the code that we copied, because actually the stroke is not what I was looking for. The animation, this effect is what I was looking for. So we can get rid of this font size and this stroke width and this stroke color and things like that. Hit refresh, just have a normal text for that. And there's something happened that now we are no longer able to see the color, but maybe let's see why that, because the color is transparent. Maybe that's the reason it's doing that. And transparent is a value, and as transparent it means you should need when, for example, when an image does not have a background, we can say it has a transparent background, and a transparent it means it's invisible. So if we clean that, come back here, hit refresh, this is actually it, because I was actually looking for this effect, not anything else. So this text transform to uppercase also is something that I want to clean. I don't want it. And so let's see if everything is okay. And this letter spacing here is on 3 pixels. Let's zoom that. You can see there is a space between all of these things. Also, we can remove that as well. Come back here, hit refresh. And this is it. Maybe put the letter spacing on 1.5 pixels. 0.5 pixels. Refresh. I think 1.5 pixel is better for this. Is good. And also, now that I look at it, this arrow here, this thing that we have, like things that moves, I think it's just a very close to it's just very close to the text, it seems. So how can we actually go ahead and change that? For example, because I want to find what that is. So in order to find it, I can click on this icon here, and when I click on this, I can click on this, and now I can see that is just actually coming from there. And we can go inside CSS Properties and see if we can actually change the position of this. You can see the position is on absolute, okay, the width on 0%, because I'm trying to find a way in order to move that a little to the left, because I think it's very close to your daily codes, or maybe there's a simpler way to move the text a little to the right. This your daily codes maybe. So again, we can come here. For this one, the letter spacing is on 1.5. We can say, for example, padding left, for example, 10 pixels. Let's see how it looks like. Yes, it's good. I think this padding left 10 pixel is good for that. But also we need to apply that padding left 10 pixel for the hover part, because it has 2 parts, the code that has been written. One part is the actual text yes, actual text, and the other one is hover text. So for the actual text, the padding left has been applied, but for the hover text, the padding is not applied, so that's why we are having some kind of a bug, it seems. So we need to fix that as well. And believe me, now that I take a look at the codes, it seems that the best way is actually to create another new span, because usually, let me tell you something, guys. When we have a advanced design, because take a look at it, this is actually an advanced design. You don't see things like that everywhere. For example, this hover effect for this one, this is a simple design. So that's why when we use that, everyone understands and everyone's good to go and everything is great. But this effect, this hover effect for this one is actually a little complicated. So the complicated designs usually have complicated code. So that's why we are having some troubles here. And believe me, now that I take a look at all these codes and see that there's a hover section, we fix the code from somewhere else goes wrong. So that's why now that I take a look at it, I think in order to create a space between this green handle, whatever that is, and the your daily codes text, is to actually just create a new span tag here. And let's break all these two here. Create a new span tag here and call the class, assign a class to this and give and put a name for that. Call it effect text. Okay, and we can select this one and apply that padding to that. So that's what we can do. The effect text, which is inside the awesome effect, awesome effect has the effect text inside that, and you should have a padding from left, and that is 10 pixels. So when we apply that to this, so now the problem is fixed. And also we can apply for example, a padding right to that as well. So let's set that padding from top and right. Oof, what happened? It seems that I changed the zoom. Was it this the zoom was this or this? I don't know, but it seems too much. Let's go with this one. The padding is 10 pixels from top and right. From top and 0. From top and right, top and bottom 0, from left and right 10 pixels. So now hit refresh, and now I think it's great. And there's something about this. You see, I don't like this glow effect of this. Do you like it? See, you can see that there's kind of like a bulb that's glowing for that. That's the filter drop shadow that it's been using. CSS has so many different filters. Let's search for some of them. CSS filters. For example, you can actually make something black and white. For example, there are some filters for that. And he has used this a filter called drop shadow. This filter is kind of, the syntax of this filter kind of looks like transition. Do you remember for transition we had something called a function? For example, transition scale 1.5. You had some functions for transition. For this one as well, for the filter we have so many different functions. And you can see, for example, filter grayscale. As you can see now, let's hit Control-0 on this one, and it makes the thing to grayscale. And also, yeah, let's see one of them. For example, he has applied this grayscale to an IMG, and you can see the filter has been applied to the IMG, and he has made that grayscale. So there are lots of different filters, and he has used this filter for that, but I don't like this filter. If you like it, you can keep it, but I don't like it. So hit refresh, and now I think it's better because I didn't like that. Yeah. So this is it. And the way that this effect is working, if you interested to know, well, it's playing with width. For example, let's say for the initial value when the page is being loaded, the width of this hover text is actually 0%, as you can see. If, for temporary, made that width to 20%, you can see that this is now come to the 20%. It has come a little to the righter. And of course, if you make that to 40%, what happens? Refresh, it goes there. And so the point is, if we manage to do something that the width of this hover text goes from 0 to 100% with an animation, well, that's what we have accomplished, and this is what we want. See, the width on is 0%. So for that, it's saying when this hover text is hovered, go and increase the width to 100%. And also it has a transition of 0.5 seconds, and 0.5 seconds it takes for it to go from width 0 to width 100%. So that's why we have the animation. So we used the animation for these, and we put that on 0.4 seconds for that. And also let's use 0.4 second for this one as well. 0.4. I think 0.4 is better. Yeah, this 0.4. And so this is the way that the person has written the codes. And if you don't see, for example, this inset is actually a advanced CSS concept. I'm not going to go very deeply to the code, but I think the code is now just a little understandable. You almost understand everything in it, from the positions, from the text decoration, from the letter spacing, all of them, but except some of them. For example, this WebSketch stroke or this inset, don't worry about them, it's just fine. This inset is not, it's something that I may want to cover in my advanced CSS course, but it's not no big deal. You can actually go ahead and inside W3 School search for this inset if you're really interested and want to know what that is. So anyway, now we have customized this awesome effect with the way that we want, and I think everything is great. So let's apply this awesome effect for the other ones. So now that we have customized this thing for ourselves, we can use that awesome effect for all of them now. So let's use, so this span, this whole huge span tag. So I'm going to come here, hit Control V, and for this one also I am going to cut this. Okay, cut this, and instead of your daily codes, set Control D, Control V, and replace that with that. So come back here, sorry, where we are, hit refresh, and now for this one also we have that awesome effect. Okay, and also for the address, okay, so again we copy all of these HTML code, okay, but rather than using that phone number there, we just need to replace that with New York, United States. So I'm going to hit refresh, and now everything is great, and the links actually they work just fine, and we have a great hover effect for these things, I think. And I think the design is much great, and the only thing that is remaining are this social icons. So let's quickly fix them too, so before finishing this session. So again, we have so many socials, and we can apply a class to all of them. So we can hit assign a class and call it social link, okay. And if you want to do, well, let's hit delete, enter, end key, backspace, enter, and in order to break them into the lines. And because if you break your codes into the line, you have more space, more room, and you have better code readability. So we can now go select. So, and also before we go on, we can have a new comment section. So this is inside our header section, and this is our awesome effect, okay. And I wanted to create a new section, but it seems that this awesome effect is something global. We can actually use it in other places as well, I mean, because the code has been written somehow that we can just use that technique for any text. So let's have that in a section, but here where I'm going to write my social link. So I have a class called socials here. So let's see, socials. okay? And inside that social, and we will come back to the CSS codes and make the commenting a little better. We will have some refactors and code improvements there for sure, because now that I look at it, there are some improvements possible for that, because and also see, and these socials, let's see, socials is inside our hero, that it seems, yeah, is inside our hero section. So that's something as well we can fix to header hero. So see header, because I want my code to look like the other one. So header has a hero has a socials and social link. For example, for now we can set the text decoration to none because it had a text decoration, and we can set the color to inherit again for the CSS thing, for this a tags, and of course we have applied those changes. And let's finish this session right here, because the video is getting too long now, and it's enough for this session. So we have now almost completed our hero section. We customized the this effect that we copied from UIVerse into our project. It's now much better, I believe, at least in my opinion. But now we are trying to fix these things that we are running out of time, but we are going to continue working on these social links from the next session. So that's it. That's enough for this session. Hope to see you in the next one.